И есть много исследований, которые показывают, что групповой пазл принципиально влияет на качество понимания учащимся учебного материала и дает на самом деле огромные перспективы учителю и ученикам. Вот. Я передаю слово Ольге Сурьяниновой, заведующей кафедрой английского языка новой школы. Вот. Ольга уже проводила у нас несколько раз мастер-классы по групповому пазлу и вживую на конференции «Смешанное обучение». И на самом деле вот коллеги нам потом писали, что это просто фантастически работает. Вот. И в онлайне. Поэтому я хочу сказать, что, коллеги, это уникальная технология. Берите, используйте и применяйте у себя на уроках. Пожалуйста.
Hello, everyone. My name's Olga. Thank you for joining. If I were you, I'd be sitting home defrosting and drinking tea because of the weather. So thank you very much for being there, for willing to learn, for willing to work in your CPD. That's really precious. Today I'll give you a workshop on Jigsaw Classroom. And as Natalia had mentioned, it will consist of two parts. The first one would be the actual lesson. Well, we'll practice the technology itself. You see how it works in real life. And the second will be deconstructing the stages, talking about the potential outcomes, alternative frameworks, and forms of assessment. So, share my screen. I'm going to spoil all the fun by showing you the final task of this lesson. And this is what I would do with my actual learners if I were to give this lesson in real life. Here we go. So the final task of this lesson would be a group speaking task. This is the topic. Have a look, read it quickly. By the end of this session, but actually at the middle of it, you'll have all the information needed to be able to perform. So everything we learned today will lead to the final task, which you can see here. Okay. I'll probably stop sharing the screen for a while. Ask you to tell me what you think happiness is. You can write it in chat, or you can use your microphone and share with everyone. So please write your ideas in chat or share it with us. Being satisfied. Okay. Satisfied with what? What areas or aspects can you think of in this context? With your life. All right. That's okay. Hard to say, it is, I guess. Something people always want to achieve. That's true, Olga. I totally agree with you. When you have the right people around you, that's great. That's great. Okay. Any other ideas? Oh, wishes. So what happens when our wish comes true? Right. Okay, so we have some ideas on what happiness is, but basically, as some of you mentioned, this is a pretty difficult concept to express. So today's lesson will try to look at this idea and get a better understanding of it. I'll be sharing my screen again. One more idea we have. When reality is better than expectations. Oh, that's nice. Okay. Right. Okay, let's have a look. Some technical instructions before we actually start. You'll be working in the breakout rooms, and we'll change them, the breakout rooms, several times. Once you are in your first breakout room, check its number. For example, сессионный зал 1, сессионный зал 2, and so on. Change your name in Zoom by putting the number of your breakout room before your name. For example, if you're in the breakout room 1, you write 1 and then your name. For example, if I'm in breakout room 1, I put 1 and then write my name, Olga Savinina. Right. Important. You only do that once. Do not change your name when being moved to a new breakout room. So only change it once and keep it this way till the end of the lesson. In this document that I'll be putting in chat in a minute, you'll find the tasks for your group. So the first task you'll be working on in your breakout room is here, task 1. So once you're in your breakout room and you've changed your name, click on the right task. For example, if you are in breakout room 1, click on link 1. The instructions are right here, and you can also write in this document. Each group gets its own task. The first task is for about 7 minutes. I'll give you a reminder while walking through the breakout rooms. Let's put this link in your chat. Please do not close this document because you'll need it later. Boom. Please put a plus if you can see the document, if you can open it. Okay, thank you. Thank you. You can also write minus if you can't open it. Let's wait for a couple more pluses or minuses. Okay, good. Now, I'm going to put you in the breakout room. Don't forget to keep the document open till the end of the lesson. Open your link, read the task, work on it together, write your answers in the document. Natalia and Ekaterina, I will put it again. Try again. You can copy paste it. Put it in your browser if you can't just click on it. Tell me if it's better this way. Thank you. Natalia, is it okay? Great, great. Thank you. Go to your breakout rooms. Don't forget to change your name first. Go. Please do accept the invitation to your breakout room. If you're not in your breakout room, can I help you somehow? Please write in chat or ask orally.
Я скажу два слова для коллег, которые сейчас нас смотрят в YouTube. У нас сейчас более 15 подключений. Коллеги, я рекомендую вам все-таки перейти по ссылке, присоединиться и поучаствовать именно в роли участников для того, чтобы увидеть, что происходит внутри групп. Потому что лучший способ познакомиться с этим методом – это именно участвовать. Мы не сможем показывать происходящее внутри групп. Это Zoom. Поэтому я очень рекомендую всем включиться и присоединиться. Спасибо.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I'll be going to the breakout rooms now. If you don't need any help, then I guess it's okay. Please do write in chat if you can't reach us somehow.
Уважаемые коллеги, основные активности нашего мастер-класса переместились в группы, и я предлагаю вам присоединиться сейчас к группам. Трансляции изнутри групп, к сожалению, не будет, это невозможно. Поэтому мы подождем, когда коллеги выйдут и расскажут, что же там было.
Right, as I can see, people have been too exhausted by the end of the day, so it's been a bit challenging to participate in the lesson itself. So to make your life easier and not to force you into these activities, I'll just explain the stages and show you how my lesson was constructed so that it gets a bit easier for you. I'll be sharing my screen again. So as you can see, we have about 30 to 40 people. General class is usually half of it, but you can actually teach bigger groups. It doesn't matter how many people you have. What you need to do is to assign twice as many breakout rooms as you want, as you've planned. For example, if you are willing to have 4 working groups, you need 8 breakout rooms. You create Google Docs for each group. And in Google Doc, you put the activities you plan for this particular group to work on. I'll share the screen with the activities so you can see what other people had. Let's have a look. For example, the first group was watching a video on evolution and happiness. The second group was watching the video on happiness myth and so on. So you can see that the videos are interconnected. They are all around one topic that you want to cover, but the questions are a bit different. So thank you, those who started typing in the documents. I really appreciate that. So the questions are usually to check general understanding of the topic. They are aimed at getting the bigger picture of what the students had learned. The goal is that the learners, each participant, will later tell people from other groups what they've watched and what they found out. So we'll go back to the document where we have for everyone. So in the first stage, 4 groups had watched different videos and answered the questions. What I do next? I put them in new breakout rooms. This will be breakout rooms 5, 6, and 7, where I had no one before. That's why I asked you to change your name, to put number before your name, so I can easily change the arrangements for the breakout rooms. What I do, I think you can guess. I put people from different groups to a different breakout room. So for breakout room 5, I'll have people from 1, 2, 3, 4. For breakout room 6, the same. 7, the same. 8, the same. So I'll ask people to tell each other what they had learned by watching the video, what was the new information they had found, and they'll have this document they were typing in as their plan. Later on, we go to task 2. Let's have a look at what people did there. We're supposed to do that. After people discuss different videos in their new groups, they read an article. So there's text planned here. They need to work in the same group, so they stay in their same new group and discuss the questions. And I think you can easily guess what happens next. I put them in their old groups where they report what they had read previously. What happens next? They have the information from different videos. They have the information from different articles. They need to get, to put it all together, to prepare a talk. That's a group talk. let's have a look at the slides I have. So that's basically the way you do the stages. You start with a home group, then there's an expert group, people from different groups report, and then you do it again and again. It works well with reading lessons. You can also do it with listening. So receptive skills you practice there. What I did, I combined both things because the outcome of the lesson was not the linguistic one per se, but the more global one, the presentation skills. So what are the benefits of doing this? Typical problem teachers have with group project is here in this meme, I guess. So you give students a group work and you have this one hardworking person who does the whole job and a couple laid backs doing nothing. And you have to give them a mark somehow. Doesn't seem inspiring to this hardworking guy. And the laid backs usually feel like that's their chance to get a mark. This project gives you, this framework gives you the opportunity for distributing this responsibility. So there's a hypothesis that equal participation increases responsibility. As you can see, each person who has the number is responsible for this particular bit of information. He or she will have to report later. So you can easily see why it's important to understand this particular text, to read this particular article, to watch this particular video. You later need it, and others will need it too. Some meta skills you practice, like note-taking, summarizing. They don't have to be linguistic per se, they can be just, well, study skills, we call them. Cooperation, and it has to do with remedying the negative group environment. By this I mean, if you have bullies in your group, if you feel that your students are not being friendly to each other, you have conflicts in the group, this is the way to remedy the situation. Originally, Jigsaw Classroom was aimed at dealing with racism in the groups, and this is how we can use it in a way that our students will feel much friendlier by the end of this group. They'll feel they all share, they all participate somehow. So cooperation is important. You learn how to listen to others. Why? Because it's not just about talking about yourself, giving your specific opinion. It's about listening to others, because their information is important too. You can't survive without it. That's part of the project. It's an autonomy booster. A huge deal of the lesson goes without the teacher. So basically, learners have to deal with the information themselves. So you help them, but not as the dominating figure, just help them dealing with what they are doing themselves. You make the lesson more student-centered. This one is actually not student-centered, the lesson I was showing you, because the questions are produced by me. I created them. I was quite dominating in a way, but if you ask the students to, let me go back, to do this bit themselves, like if you just ask them, okay guys, happiness, give me some ideas on what you can talk about here. I think they will create this checklist themselves. And once they have created it, they'll find out they don't have enough information. So this is how you can make it more student-centered. But generally, yeah, it is more learner-centered than lecturing them or having a frontal lesson. Well, in any way, it's fun. You can work with authentic materials. You can find interesting text. The topics are quite inspiring, so you can talk about anything. It's actually a nice opportunity for CLIL, content and language integrated skills you can practice there. So you can actually take information from different subjects. For example, how one thing works in different subjects, and then you make this sort of a puzzle. All right. I think I've mentioned student-centeredness and the way you can give your learners this opportunity to be the ones asking the questions. So you can ask them to inquire, to ask questions themselves. So inquiry-based learning is the framework you can use. So you can start with them asking the questions, and you will be the source of information on the topic. You, meaning the provider of the articles, the videos, whatever you give them. It doesn't have to be you as a lecturer. PBL, project-based learning. So you can make it a bigger thing, actually. You don't have to make it one lesson or 2 lessons in a row. You can make it a week, and you can make it more difficult in a way of assessing non-linguistic things. And we'll talk about it in a second. PBL, IBL can be easily Googled if you're interested. How and what to assess. So you can see that there was no checklist in the task I gave you, because I was not actually going to assess your speaking performance. But there are different things you can assess. And yes, it starts with language. So you can assess their reading, listening, speaking skills. You can check how they deal with information, whatever you want. But I suggest you go beyond that and check things like presentation skills, cooperation, study skills. HOTS, by HOTS, we mean high order thinking skills. So we don't just check how they comprehend, we also check how they evaluate, how they infer meaning, they get the author's point of view, so we go beyond that. It's a nice opportunity for self-assessment. Your students can ask themselves questions like, was I an active participant? How well did I perform? So the questions can also be created by learners, not by the teacher. It's a nice opportunity for formative assessment. You can give them feedback on how they're going, not on the result. But yes, it can be a huge project they're working on to get a final mark for the term, if you wish to do it this way. Anyway, it's a nice opportunity for feedback. So you see it being a global thing. So it doesn't happen to be just on language or just on this presentation skills you've been working on previously, for example. So this is a huge thing, and students really appreciate when you give them feedback. And you can also use it as an opportunity for peer feedback. Teach your students how to give a polite and friendly feedback to each other. This is really something they'll appreciate. Checklists, I've mentioned that being an important part of the whole process. If your students do not understand how and what they're being assessed on, this is completely pointless. So my suggestion is create checklists. And yes, you can do that with your learners. So you can ask them what they want to be assessed on mainly. And you can, together with your learners, create sort of a checklist. I'm not suggesting benchmarks. I'm just suggesting the general things your learners will come up with. But yes, you can go beyond and create some benchmarks if that's such a huge project you're working on with your learners. So these are the basic ideas and why Jigsaw Classroom is super effective and can be used in any classroom not just the English language classroom, but actually any subject. But this time I was asked to give workshop for English teachers, so that's why I focused on the English language content. And I'm ready for your questions, if any. You can write them in chat, or you can talk if you want. I guess we have no questions. Oh, no, we do. How much time does it take to prepare such a classroom? I'll give you a hint. Not much. If you use this framework quite often. I was using authentic materials. It took me ages to find the proper videos, to find the timing, things like that. But yes, you can use ready-made things. What I'm suggesting is you can use books like 21st Century Skills. I'll be sharing my screen to show you the cover of this book. There are many on the level. What they have there is a super long TED Talk and super long article. What you can do with it, cut it into pieces, and boom, you have a lesson. Very easy. It takes like 15 minutes to prepare. You don't have to look for authentic material. You already have first century skills. There are 2 books. I'll share you the screen with it. Yes. Here we go. By the way, no one is paying me for this sort of PR, just to make sure you don't consider me a merchandiser or something. 21st Century Skills Reading, or 21st Century Reading it's called. Different levels. I think it starts from B1. If I'm not mistaken, it goes up to C2. I'd say from B2 up to C2, the level is basically the same because that's authentic material. The questions are already made. You don't have to make them. The video is already there. It's about 20 minutes. If you cut it into 4 parts, boom, you already have a lesson. The article is quite long. It has main points, like a bit on one point, then a bit on a second issue, on a third issue. Cut the issues, you have a lesson. This book might be available on the internet. I can't tell you where though. You can also find them in places, in bookshops, I guess. Another idea, you can use TED Talk videos and find articles on the topic. You can easily Google things like The Guardian, New York Times. If you look at my materials, you've seen that I actually only used YouTube and Google to find my materials. I didn't pay for anything, sorry. Yes, I have some more questions there, I guess. How many lessons do you have? For this particular construction, it takes about 2 lessons in a row when I have this sort of thing. If I do it with reading and watching the video. If you only do it with reading, you can cut it into 1 lesson. 1 40-minute lesson is neat. 1 40-minute listening lesson is neat. It's enough. How to make a video lesson with your students offline, ask them beforehand to bring their phones and headphones or earplugs. They usually have them with them, by the way. If you do both things, 2 lessons. What about timing the stages? What is your approach to plan how much time is to be spent on this or that stage? So my contention is the video mustn't be more than 4 minutes. And I don't do this, gist, detail, inference thing. Nah, the point is not to go with the skills. The outcome is more global. So I don't do the staging. About 7 minutes for each stage. So 4 minutes of watching, 3 minutes of doing the task, because there are just 2 questions. The same with the article. The article is about like 2-3 minutes to read, and then about 3 minutes to speak. The final part takes ages because they have to present a talk. You can give it as home task, I guess. I don't take much time for lead-in. 2 minutes is enough. So basically you'll have a lesson. But of course, there's much going on with the speaking after each task. They want to discuss, they want to have a debate. Depend on your outcome. If you want them to have this hot debate, do that. If the outcome is about different thing, tell them shush, you'll talk later, and change the groups again. All right. Any more questions? I'll stop this dirty PR. Thank you, Svetlana. Thank you very much. That's very precious. So you might also ask me whether, thank you. You might also ask me whether you can do it with lower levels. And yes, you can. Grab an article, which is for A2, cut it, and boom, you have a lesson. And you can have a speaking extension on it, a huge speaking extension sort of debate. So it can work well with lower levels. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Спасибо огромное.
Спасибо.
Было очень здорово. Очень, по-моему, полезно. Вот. К нам, к сожалению, не все смогли присоединиться, кто хотел, но что смогли, то сделали. Мне кажется, будем продолжать.
Спасибо большое.